Hi everyone, I'm Mona and I have been reading Bhagwat Gita. Till now I have done four live on that. First is Greatness of Gita, next is Principal Teaching. The third, I explained the backstory of Mahabharata and the characters mentioned in Gita. Yesterday I read first chapter of Gita where in short, if I explain, it was about Arjun realizing that he have to fight against his own family, cousins, father-in-law, and friends, well-wishers. So it was just his own family he's fighting against, and he was questioning if this is the right thing to do. He would rather die by their hands than fight them. So today I'll be reading second chapter of this, the Bhagavad Gita, the song divine. So let's start. Now, yesterday I explained Sanjay. He's explaining everything to Dhritarashtra, and he's not at the workplace, but he has a special power where he can see whatever he wants to see with his. There is a special power where he can see everything what's happening. So he's watching everything happening in the battlefield and explaining it to Dhritarashtra. Okay, let's start. Sanjay said, Shri Krishna then addressed the following words to Arjun, who was, as mentioned before, overwhelmed with pity, whose eyes were filled with tears and agitated, and who was full of sorrow. Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, how has this infatuation overtaken you at this odd hour? It is shunned by noble souls, neither will it bring heaven nor fame for you. Yield not to unmanliness, Arjun, this does not become you. Shaking off this base faint-heartedness, stand up, O crotches of enemies. Arjun said, How, Krishna? Shall I fight Bhishma and Drona with arrows on the battlefield? They are worthy of deepest reverence, O destroyer of foes. It is better to live on alms in this world by not slaying these noble elders, because even after killing them, we shall after all enjoy only blood-stained pleasure in the form of wealth and sense enjoyments. We do not even know which is preferable for us, to fight or not to fight. Nor do we know whether we shall win or whether they will conquer us. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, killing whom we do not even wish to leave, stand in the enemy ranks. With my very being smitten by the vice of faint-heartedness and my mind puzzled with regards of duty, I beseech you, tell me that which is decidedly good. I am your disciple, pray instruct me, who have taken refuge in you. For even on obtaining undisputed sovereignty and an affluent kingdom on this earth and lordship over the gods, I do not see any means that can drive away the grief which is drying up my senses. Sanjay said, O king, having thus spoken to Sri Krishna, Arjun said again to him, I will not fight, and became silent. Then, O Dhritarashtra, Sri Krishna, as if smiling, addressed the following words to Arjun, sorrowing in the midst of the two armies. Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for, and yet speak like the learned. Wise men do not sorrow over the dead or the living. In fact, there was never a time when I was not, or when you or these kings were not. Nor is it a fact that hereafter we shall all cease to be. Just as boyhood, youth, and old age are attributed to so through this body, even so it attains another body. The wise man do not the wise man does not get deluded about this. O son of Kunti, the contacts between the senses and their objects, which give rise to the feeling of heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc., are transitory and fleeting. Therefore, Arjun, endure them. Arjun, the wise man to whom pain and pleasure are alike, and who is not tormented by these contacts, become eligible for immortality. The unreal has no existence, and the real never ceased to be. The reality of both has thus been perceived by the seers of truth. Know that alone to be imperishable which pervades this universe, for no one has power to destroy this indestructible substance. All this body pertaining to the imperishable, indefinable, and eternal soul are spoken of as perishable, therefore Arjun, fight. Both of them are ignorant. He who considers the soul to be capable of killing, and he who takes it as killed. For verily the soul neither kills nor is killed. The soul is never born, nor it ever dies, nor does it become after being born, for it is unborn, eternal, everlasting, and primeval, even though the body is slain and the soul is not. Arjun, the man who knows this soul to be imperishable, eternal, and free from birth and decay, how and whom will he cause to be killed? How and whom will he kill? As a man shedding worn-out garments takes other new ones, likewise the embodied soul, casting off another worn-out bodies, enters into the others that are new. Weapons cannot cut it, nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can wind dry it. For this, soul is incapable of being cut or burnt by fire, nor it can be dissolved by water, and is undriable by fire by air as well. The soul is eternal, all-pervading, immovable, constant, and everlasting. The soul is unmanifest, it is incomprehensible, and it is spoken to as immutable. Therefore, knowing it is as such, you should not grieve. And Arjun, if you should this soul be and Arjun, if you should suppose this soul to be subject to constant birth and death, even then you should not grieve like this, for it is for in that case death is certain for the born, and rebirth is inevitable for dead. You should not therefore grieve over the inevitable. Arjun, before birth, beings are not manifest to our human senses. On death, they return to the unmanifest again. They are manifest only in the interim between death, birth, and death. What occasion then for lamentation? Hardly any great soul perceived this soul as marvelous. Scarce another soul, scarce another great soul likewise speaks therefore thereof as marvelous, and scarce another worthy one hears of it as marvelous, while there are some who know it not even on hearing of it. Arjun, the soul dwelling in the bodies of all can never be slain, therefore you should not mourn for anyone. Besides, considering your own duty too, you should not waver, for there is nothing more welcome for a man of the warrior class than a righteous war. Arjun, fortunate are the Kshatriya who get such an unsolicited opportunity of war, which is an open gateway to heaven. Now, if you refuse to fight this righteous war, then shrinking your duty and losing your reputation, you will incur sin. Nay, people will also pour undying infamy on you, and infamy brought on a man enjoying popular esteem is worse than death. And the warrior chief who thought highly of you will now despise you, thinking that it was fear which drove you away from battle. And your enemies, disparaging your might, will speak many unbecoming words. What can be more distressing than this? Die, and you will win heaven, conquer, and you enjoy sovereignty of the earth. Therefore stand up, Arjun, determined to fight, treating alike victory and defeat, gain and lose, gain and loss, pleasure and pain. Get ready for the battle. Fighting thus, you will not incur sin. Arjun, this attitude of mind has been presented to you from the point of view of Jagannayog. Now hear the same as presented from the standpoint of Karma Yoga. the yoga of selfless action. Equipped with this attitude of mind, you will be able to throw off completely the shackles of karma. In this path of selfless action, there is no loss of effort, nor is there fear of contrary result. Even a little practice of this discipline saves one from the terrible fear of birth and death. Arjun, in this yoga of selfless action, the intellect, the intellect is determinate and directed singly towards one ideal, whereas the intellect of the undecided, ignorant men moved by the desires wanders in all directions after immeasurable sins, immeasurable aims. Arjun, those who are full of worldly desires and devoted to the letter of Vedas, who look upon heaven as a supreme goal and argue that there is nothing beyond heaven, are unwise. They utter flowery speech recommending many rituals of various kinds for the attainment of pleasures and power with rebirth as their fruit. Those whose minds are carried away by such words and who are deeply attached by pleasures and worldly power cannot attain the determinate intellect concentrated on God. Arjun, the Vedas that deal with the evolutes of the three guns, modes of Prakrit, viz. Worldly enjoyments and the means of attaining such enjoyments, be thou indifferent of these enjoyments, their means, rising above pairs of opposites like pleasures and pain, etc., established in the eternal existent God, absolutely unconcerned about the fulfillment of wants and the preservation of what has been already attained. You be self-controlled. A Brahman who has obtained enlightenment has as much use for all the Vedas as one who stands at the brink of the sheets of water overflowing on all sides has for a small reservoir of water. Your right is to work only and never to the fruit thereof. Okay, now listen to these lines once again. Your right is to work only and never to the fruit thereof. Do not consider yourself to be the cause of the fruit of action, nor let your attachment be to inaction. Arjun, perform your duties established in yoga, renouncing attachment, and be ever minded in success and failure. Evenness of mind is called yoga. Action with a selfish motive is far inferior to this yoga in the form of equanimity. They seek refuge in this equipoise of mind, Arjun. For poor and wretched are those who are the cause in making their action bear fruit. Endowed with equanimity, one shades in this life both good and evil. Therefore, strive for the practice of this yoga of equanimity. Skill in action lies in the practice of this yoga. For a wise man possessing equipoised mind, renouncing the fruit of actions and freed from the shackles of birth, attain the blissful supreme state. When your mind will leave when your mind will have fully crossed the mire of delusion, you will then grow indifferent of the enjoyments of this world, and the next that you have been heard of as well as to those that are yet to be heard of. It says, let me repeat this, when your mind will have fully crossed the mire of delusion, you will then grow indifferent of the enjoyments of this world, and the next that have been heard of as well as to those that are yet to be heard of. When your intellect, confused by hearing conflicting statements, will rest steady and undistracted in meditation on God, you will then attain yoga, everlasting union with God. Arjun said, Krishna, what are the characteristics of a God realized soul? Stable of mind and established in samadhi, perfect tranquility of mind. How does the man of stable mind speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? Sri Bhagwan said, Arjun, when one thoroughly cast off all craving of the mind and is satisfied in the self through the joy of the self, he is then called the stable of mind. The sage whose mind remains unpure unperturbed amid sorrows, whose thirst for pleasures has altogether disappeared, and who is free from compassion, fear, and anger, is called stable of mind. He who is unattached to everything, and meeting with good and evil, neither rejoices nor recoils. His mind is stable. When, like a tortoise that draw in its limb from all directions, he withdraws all his senses from the sense object, his mind becomes steady. Since objects turn away from him, who does not enjoy them with his senses, but the taste for them persists, this relish will also disappear in the case of the man of stable mind when he realizes the supreme. Turbulent by nature, the senses, not free from attachment, even of a wise man who is practicing self-control, forcibly carry away his mind, Arjun. Therefore, he is controlled. Therefore, having control of all senses and concentrating his mind, he should sit for meditation, devoting himself, heart and soul to me. For he whose senses are under his control is known to have a stable mind. The man dwelling on sense object develops attachment for them. From attachment springs up desires, and from desire ensues anger. From anger arises delusion. From delusion, confusion of memory. From confusion of memory, loss of reason, and from loss of one reasons, one goes to complete ruin. But the self-controlled sadhak, while enjoying the various sense objects through his senses, which are disciplined and free from likes and dislikes, attains placidity of mind. With the attainment of such placidity of mind, all his sorrows come to an end, and the intellect of such a person of tranquil mind, soon withdrawing itself from all sides, become firmly established in God. He who have not controlled his mind and senses can have no determinate intellect, nor contemplation. Without contemplation, he can have no peace. And how can there be happiness for one lacking peace of mind? As the wind carries away as wind carried away a boat upon waters, even so of the senses moving away sense objects, the one of which the mind is attached takes away his discrimination. Therefore, Arjun, he whose senses are completely restrained from their objects is said to have a stable mind. That which is night to all beings, in that stage of divine knowledge and supreme bliss of God, the God realized yogi keeps awake. And that the ever-changing transient worldly happiness in which all beings keep awake is night to the sea. As the water of different rivers enter the ocean, with which though full on all sides remain undisturbed, likewise his whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attains peace. Not he who hankers after such enjoyments. He who, have, he who has given up all desires and moves free from attachment, egoism, and thirst for enjoyments attain peace. Arjun, such is the state of God-realized soul. Having reached this state, he overcomes delusion and establishes in this state, even as the last moment, he attains Brahmic bliss. Thus, in this Sno Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of yoga, and the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjun in the second chapter entitled Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. So today we are done with the second chapter, and from tomorrow I will read chapter 3. Okay, so in this chapter, in short, Krishna is telling Arjun why he should not worry about the war, because it's his duty, and through all kinds, Sankhya Yoga or Karma Yoga, either way he have to follow his duty, because soul can neither be killed nor does it born. So he has to attain his duty. Thanks for today. Now this is the book I was reading, and tomorrow I will read the third chapter. Hi everyone, and Happy New Year to you. Hi Manupriya, Happy New Year to you as well. Okay, friends, I'll take my leave for today since this is the Bhagavad Gita I was reading. After 15 minutes to half an hour, I'll come back with my Hindu mythology with Mona and we can talk there. That's where I talk. So we will talk there if you are still joining my live. Thanks for today. Bye bye.